going on, everybody? Good to see ya. As you guys know, most of you probably know, I had a wedding this weekend, and didn't really do anything with the channel. Had a video scheduled for Saturday. Had a video scheduled, well, not scheduled for Friday because I watched the episode at like 4:30 in the morning, and then made a video before I had to get all the wedding stuff together. But it was fun, man. As we often do, as I often do, went a little too hard. Yeah, I realized quickly that, I'm not a young buck anymore, and I can't stay out till like 2 a.m. just drinking as much as I possibly want. You can't. I mean, I can, but the next day you will suffer, right? So, yeah, I felt pretty shitty yesterday, but it's all good. It's all good. Welcome, guys, one and all. Vince Wynn, the Muddler. Arcaros Captures, good to see you guys, and Caleb Kemp, good to see you as well, man. So I didn't get very many patron questions this month. This is probably in terms of just history of the channel and supporter Q&As, you can put March 2020 down as the month where I barely got any. I got four. Normally there's like 15, 20 questions or something like that from Patreon. I got 4. So this is going to probably be a shorter Q&A than I've ever done. But I would love to hang out with you guys in the chat. If you want to ask some questions, fire away. As always, this is a supporter Q&A, and they're always super low key. But I love them because I always sip on a little bit of coffee, right? But Caleb Kemp, thank you so much for the first super chat and channel support of the stream, man. General Kenobi, I hope everything's going well for you. And I hope you had a fantastic weekend. And you're gearing up for a good week ahead of you. But I appreciate that, man. So, what's new with everybody in the chat? So, let's move to some Patreon questions. The first Patreon question comes from Biscuit Fingers. And again, I haven't read any of these yet. So, I was like being blindsided and having to think on my toes. Biscuit Finger says, "Hey Greedo, if all goes according to schedule, you'll be recording this on my birthday." Yep, this is the first time in a long time that I've actually done them on the first, date that I say that. Yeah, the Q&A is going to be on Monday, March 9th. Usually I have to push it back because some shit, right? But nope, this is it. This is it. Biscuit Fingers also says, as someone who, and first of all, I should have said happy birthday, Biscuit Fingers. Happy birthday, man. I hope everything's going well. I hope it was a fun one. As someone who has been watching you for about 7 years now, I've seen how your content and opinions have evolved, and I wanted to ask what you think has been the biggest change in your views on Star Wars and what it means to you. Thanks, Greedo. Keep it up. Ooh, that's a really good question. And yeah, it's a huge, I mean, I've been doing this for 9 years, right? If you've been doing something for 9 years, I would hope that everybody kind of, especially on YouTube, right? You kind of evolve. Your channel evolves with your personality and just life experiences. And I think most of the time people get a little more level-headed and rounded out, and they're not as, I don't know, dipshitty and looking for confrontation. So I think that's probably been I love poking fun. Don't get me wrong. I love poking fun, but goddamn, there's some thin-skinned sons of bitches on the internet, right? I can't imagine how they act in real life if the little piddly shit that people say about them that is nothing gets under their skin that much. I digress. So yeah, the channel has majorly evolved. But the biggest thing honestly, Biscuit Fingers, I think one of the biggest things, and the channel started evolving before I started watching this, but the Clone Wars. I started watching the Clone Wars in 2017. And before that, if you would have told me like the Night Sister witches a month before I started watching the Clone Wars, or a month before I even got to the Clone Wars Night Sister witches stuff, I couldn't even told you what they looked like. I couldn't even describe anything about them. So I think the Clone Wars, more than anything, jumping into that, has been one of the biggest kind of eye-opening things in Star Wars to me, and has helped aid maybe a more broad understanding, it maybe isn't the correct word, but appreciation for things that I originally maybe did not appreciate or didn't even give the time of day to, you know. So, sure, I was a lot more, I mean, even before 2017, I think I had, you know, I was a lot less rigid in my opinions as I was in 2011 when I started this channel, right? And that's just by virtue of kind of communicating with people from all over the world who like different aspects of Star Wars. I think once you kind of start talking to people and you start to see other people's point of view and you understand why they love the things they love, and you understand that everybody's Star Wars is different, and that Star Wars is just a vessel for this kind of mindset. I mean, this kind of goes with everything, all opinions, right? But so yeah, talking to people and also watching the Clone Wars are probably the two biggest things that that kind of pushed a little bit of a new view. But anyway, I appreciate that, Biscuit Fingers, and happy birthday once again. Because, you know, the Clone Wars, it really has shown me a very different side of Star Wars than I never really thought I would get into. And it's some of my favorite Star Wars stuff. I've said it before, but the Clone Wars has some of the best Star Wars stuff and some of the worst Star Wars stuff. It kind of suffers and benefits from its quantity. But yeah, it's a blast. Anyway, Biscuit Fingers, I appreciate that, man. Mr. Captures, I've been wondering for the longest time, what's your work process to choose the music you use in the background? It's probably a lot more simple than you think, Captures. I have a folder full of like free YouTube music, right? I mean, you probably know YouTube has like built-in audio libraries that you can pull music from and use on your videos without any kind of worry about copyright infringement and whatnot. It works great. I love it. I'm glad it exists. It's great for creators. I have a folder full of maybe 50 to 100 songs that you've probably heard a lot of in my videos over the years. The process, usually if the video, honestly, sometimes I just throw some music in there just to, without much thought. There's a few songs that if I really can't think of what song I want to throw in, I just throw it in because it works every time, you know. You probably recognize them. In fact, this is one of them that literally just came on. I did not plan this. This is kind of creepy. Geographer J Sweeps is a song that I've used for so long on this channel, and it just works with kind of the cadence of my voice when I make videos, and it just, I don't know, I like it. So there's not much of a process, man. If I'm doing a list video, like top 5 whatever, I don't know, or 30 retcons of Star Wars, something like that with a list, I'll usually pick a song that has a good, like a quick beat to it, just for the cadence of the video itself, and just boom, boom, boom through a list, you know. But it's probably, I don't put as much thought into it as you might think. Sometimes I do when there's videos that have cuts and different tempoed scenes and whatnot, but for the most part, you know, it's just kind of, I have a list of 50 songs in a folder, and I'll click one and listen to it for 15 seconds and be like, yeah, that fits pretty well, and I'll toss it in there. But yeah, it's not as exciting as you might think, Captures. What's up, Vince? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What is your the Muddler? What is your favorite so bad it's good movie? I don't really. To tell you the truth, I don't really have a favorite, like, it's so bad it's good movie. I really don't know, man. I really don't like The Room. I don't care about it. I know people love to laugh at it and think it's brilliant for, like, ironically brilliant. I don't give a shit about it. I don't know. I don't really have one, man. I think... I really can't think, to tell you the truth. Favorite so good it's bad movie. I don't know. I want to say something like Independence Day, right? But I grew up with that movie and I love it through and through. It's like it's one of my favorite childhood movies. So Boy Scouty and fun. Oh, weird. Scotty Arms. I never saw a post asking for questions this month, and I have all notifications on. Matter of fact, I was the very first question in February. If you were in the... Oh, this is from Twitter. Did you guys get notifications on Patreon? Some of you guys are probably not patrons. I know for a fact you guys aren't, but some of you guys aren't. Did you guys not get Patreon notifications? I believe I posted the post on Patreon on like March 2nd or something like that. That's strange. Anyway. I'll have to reach out to Scotty here to see what the deal was. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe notifications didn't go out through Patreon this month. If that's the case, that's a huge bummer. But anyway. The next question on Patreon. Let me scroll up here and get it in the old window. Oops, that is not the right thing that I needed to do there. All right. Sorry, guys. All right. The next question comes from Stephen Z. Smith. Oh, for everybody who's watching, tomorrow night, if you're around, I'm going to be doing another Lego Star Wars live stream, and I'm probably going to start that around 7 p.m. Eastern time, so stay tuned for that. So, the next question on Patreon comes from Stephen Z. Smith. Stephen Z. Smith says, from Legends to Canon, if you had to choose, what is your favorite Star Wars book, comics included, that you've ever read? You know, you probably know this, Stephen. I wasn't much of a... I mean, honestly, I wasn't much of a Legends reader at all. You know, I read Heir to the Empire when I was like in middle school. I barely remember it. I still have my copy. I read the novelization, the Phantom Menace novelization. I read Shadows of the Empire. I read some like 1978 Han Solo's Revenge, like old Star Wars books. I didn't read much else other than that. For whatever reason, I've never really been able to get into Star Wars books until maybe the past two and a half years. And of the canon books that I've read, and of the Legends books that I've read, which are few, I would say my favorite Star Wars book of all time, and granted, I've read maybe 8 to 10 in my life. My favorite is Bloodline. I love Bloodline. I thought it was such a really interesting read. I loved it was kind of a political thriller, a political drama. I like the characters. Casturfo is one of my like favorite non-film characters. You know, he's kind of like the don't judge a book by its cover guy who you think, well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, I thoroughly loved Bloodline. In fact, I wouldn't mind reading it again. I recently recommended it to my buddy because he was looking at getting some Star Wars comics and whatnot. But yeah, so Steven, my favorite Star Wars book is Bloodline. And if you guys haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. It's, you know, it's not like super action packed, but it's very kind of like, you can see the political posturings, you can see factions forming, you can see like, I don't know, the New Republic, kind of being strained and being pulled in various directions and assassination attempts, and I liked it. It was a good read. But anyway, I appreciate that, Steven. Let me take a quick sip of the old coffee. Vince Wynn, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening, man. I greatly appreciate that. Vince asks, around where does A New Hope land in your list of favorite films? I know it's at the top of your Star Wars list, but how does it compare to every other movie? That's really... I've thought about that often, Vince, because it kind of stands in a class of its own, right? You know, Star Wars movies are my favorite movies for the most part, but then I think about it. Are they? Are they my favorite? Is A New Hope my all-time favorite movie? I would say it's certainly the movie that I've seen the most in my life, followed by a close second being Apollo 13, I would say. So on my list of like all-time favorite movies is really difficult to say, you know, if it definitely lands on my top 5. I can't. Man, my tip top of the totem pole there, my favorite movie of all time will change depending on my mood. You know, A New Hope might be my all-time favorite today. Tomorrow it might be The Right Stuff. The next day it might be Apollo 13. Then the next day it might be Jaws. I don't know, but it's definitely in my top 5. But that list changes every time. And the thing, it's really interesting, Vince. It's because I do put it in a class of its own, right? I don't even look at it like if I was to make a top, and I did make a top 10 movies chapter in the book, and at the beginning of the chapter I said this is excluding Star Wars because this is my top 10 favorite movies of all time, excluding Star Wars. But yeah. So I don't know, definitely top 5. Is it my favorite movie of all time? Difficult to say. But yeah, it might be. And tomorrow it might not be. But doesn't matter. Nah. If a movie's in your top 20, I think it's pretty special. There's a lot of movies out there, right? Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. I hope you had a good weekend, man. Oh man. I've had so much coffee today. So the wedding, you know, was on Saturday night. Sunday morning, I woke up and I didn't feel too good. And then time change as well, so we lost an hour. We went to bed at like 2 something in the morning after just drinking from 11 in the morning. My buddy was in town too, so it was just a whirlwind of bad decisions. And then all day yesterday, like I was just dragging ass. And then today, you know, it's kind of surprising. I'm still feeling a little blah. So I've just been pounding coffee. It's been all right. Anyway, Mr. Captures, Rogue One is the favorite Disney era movie of many Star Wars fans. Seeing it so low on your list surprises me every time. Hence my question: what is it you dislike about it? I thought, you know, the thing is, when I came out of the theater, I was very, like, I kind of predicted it to be completely panned by everybody. I was actually surprised, and this seems to happen quite a bit. I was actually surprised by how many people just through and through loved it. And it's cool because I want people to like the things that I don't like, obviously. It's not that I heavily dislike it. It's just one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. I just, you know, granted, I haven't seen it since the year that it came out. I saw it twice in the theater. I watched it twice at home on my Blu-ray. I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times, I would say. But that was all within like the first year of it coming out. So it's been a while. I just remember not really being into any of the characters. I remember being pretty bored throughout most of it. My favorite character was Chirrut Imwe. I liked him as a character just because he was kind of the most hopeful guy. He was, he seemed like, I don't know, he seemed like he had purpose, and there was some mystery about him, and I liked his kind of connection to the Force, and I don't know, I thought he was the most interesting character in that movie. Everybody else kind of fell flat to me, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's like when I watch Rogue One and then I watch something like The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. They're all those, like, the sequel or the saga films are so different than Rogue One. And Rogue One just, I was so pumped for Rogue One, man. I was so pumped for it because, you know, anthology film, something different, not connected by a saga number, right? And I don't really I would have to watch it again to be able to put it into like full words as to why it didn't really hit me. Obviously the end of it is great. It's fun. It's chaotic and Vader, but it seems like everybody kind of goes to that as their favorite part of the movie. And maybe that's kind of being oversimplifying things, but you know, some great 15 minutes of fun to me, and then the rest of it was just kind of meh. I don't know, but in other words, he hates it. Worst movie ever. Yeah. Based on what you have seen, what's up, Muddler? Based on what you have seen so far, do you think you will prefer Clone Wars Season 7 or The Mandalorian? That's tough, man. I'll probably prefer... Well, we'll have to see what happens when Season 7 begins to wrap things up. Right now, it seems like we're having fun with some action figures with the Bad Batch, you know. Once another arc starts, and once we start seeing some familiar faces like Ahsoka and Anakin and everybody. Well, I mean, we've seen Anakin, but I mean, like, seeing how these different various character connections come to a close, and how the series kind of, especially Ahsoka, I think once we kind of gear a little bit more towards a conclusion and we see the path that the show is taking, it might end up surpassing The Mandalorian for me. But right now, I think I prefer The Mandalorian. But it's impossible to say right now, you know. Mandalorian, as I've said before, it's everybody seems to love it, and I think it's just because it's simple. There's not much to it. It's just a simple story. Not a lot of moving pieces. And it's fun, you know. And we'll see if Clone Wars can compete with that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really curious what they're going to do with The Mandalorian Season 2. Apparently it already wrapped, so. When did they say that was coming out? Later this year, right? Somebody let me know in the chat. I really can't remember. I guess I could Google it. I'm too busy drinking my coffee. But yeah. Anyway. And the next question, let me scroll up here on the old window. All right. Next question. Or the next Patreon post comes from our old friend Paul Robinson. Good to see you as always, man. Hey, HG, this month I've been following you for 7 years. That's crazy. Insane. Happy anniversary. Ha ha ha. Also, this month I take leave of my full-time job and go into the world of freelancers after 30 years of being somebody else's bitch. And so my question, how do you find being your own person these days, or even are you still doing that? Have to admit, I'm excited and a bit shitting myself all at once about how it's just weeks away from my redundancy date. Yeah, it's scary, right? Hope all is well in the HG house. Wait, should that be in the HG house? Oh my god. What do I know? I have 80s and 90s music on my playlist. Cheers, Paul. Nice, man. Yeah, so I still dabble whenever projects come up. They're nothing big. Often a lot of photography stuff. And I enjoy it because I basically work by myself. And, you know, but it is kind of hectic, right? So I do this. I do some freelance stuff, and then, you know, I watch my daughter during the day, so it's very busy. It can be really nerve-wracking, Paul, when projects aren't popping up every month or every other month, you know, because you're relying on other people to have stuff they need to get done, right? you're not just working the 9 to 5 for your guaranteed check at the end of the couple weeks. You have to actively either find a client that is often needing work or continuously seek out if it's like one-time gigs, which I would recommend. I don't know. I would recommend getting in with some companies or people that need it's hard to say what kind of companies do that, but so man, I think it's more nerve-wracking, Paul, doing this shit than like by this shit I mean freelancing and stuff than having your normal like guaranteed salary position, because some months are not great at all. Some months are awesome. And it's just, you're kind of, like I said, you're kind of relying on a client needing work. And sometimes it's pretty thin. So you have to kind of prepare. You have to kind of prepare for some months of drought, you know? Which I think we're pretty good at. But Paul, when my daughter, and potentially if we have another kid, when our kids get older and they're in school, I'm definitely going to kind of go back to what I was doing. The only reason that I'm doing it this way is because I want to stay home with my daughter and I don't want to pay for daycare, which is like $1,100 a month. It would be pointless for me to go back to what I was doing. So this is a way for me to be able to stay at home and work on various projects and do Greedo stuff as well, and be able to stay home, you know. But when our kids go, when my daughter and our future kid goes to school, I think I'm either going to do the firefighter route, or there's a Florida Fish and Wildlife law enforcement position that I've been kind of eyeballing. But something like that, something like that. But anyway, Paul, best of luck. Let me know how it goes. It can be super nerve-wracking. You'll find your feet. And you're going to have months where you're just like, what the hell am I doing? But it'll work out. It'll work out. Anyway, I appreciate that, Paul. Hope everything's going well for you. And cheers. Thanks for the 7 years, man. That's crazy. Time flies. Flies. Vince says, who is your favorite talk show host? I've been watching a lot of old Dick Cavett shows. I've never watched a single episode. Let's see. Way before my time, but his guests were fantastic. The show that I watched the most growing up was Conan. Especially in high school, man. I watched so much Conan. He kind of, suits my stupid sense of humor. One of my best friends reminds me so much of Conan O'Brien. And I was always a Conan fan. So yeah, he's probably my favorite of all time. I just, and his podcast is great too. I'm so glad he's doing that. He's majorly changed up his TV show, probably because of like TBS demands. It's gone to a 30-minute program. It's way more laid back, no suits, and it's just, I don't know, it's way shorter, and I don't know, but I love his podcast as well. So yeah, probably Conan. I would say probably Conan. I have a buddy who worked for Letterman for like 8 years. Which is cool. Gave me a tour. Known the guy since I was like 13. But anyway. Conan. Zio returns. Good to see you, Zio. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening, Mr. Zio. If everybody could do me a big favor in the chat, if you are here, Vince and Caleb, and Arcros Captures, and Muddler, if everybody's still here, be sure to type Zio. Welcome, Zio. I don't know. Zio has returned. Thanks, man. I appreciate it on this supporter Q&A. Monday evening. Zio, I'll be doing a Lego Star Wars stream tomorrow night if you were around. I did one, like a week ago or so? No, maybe not that long ago. Maybe like 4 days. And it was fun as hell. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. So I would say 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I'll be doing another Lego Star Wars stream. But anyway, welcome, Zio. I appreciate that tonight. All right, let's scroll to our final Patreon question. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, there we go. Mr. Caleb Kemp. Oh, I can't get the full question on here. That's weird. All right, that's all right. Caleb Kemp. Where did it go? There we go. Caleb Kemp says, "Hello there, HelloGreedo. What has been your favorite moment in space that humanity has achieved so far, like walking on the moon, the Mars rover, Elon Musk sending his car into orbit, etc.? Also, this is an answer to last month's question, but I just thought of it. Something I think could be cool to do for supporters, of course only if it's feasible and with your schedule, is private Battlefront or other multiplayer games with supporters. As fun as it is appearing on stream, it'd be awesome to play with you like I would a friend, playing a couple matches together while hanging out, shooting the crap in voice chat, that sort of thing. I'd bump up a supporter tier or two for that. Hope you're doing well. May the force be with you." Yeah, I actually used to do that quite a bit, Caleb. Before my daughter was born, I had I used to do that with patrons all the time. I used to have some of you guys probably remember, I used to play PUBG with people, supporters and whatnot, and it was so much fun. It was definitely when I had more time and life allowed more time to do that kind of thing. I even had a Patreon tier where somebody could request a time and a date where I play a specific game. Like, they could literally pick any game they wanted me to play for a couple hours on a live stream every month. I wish I had more time to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like doing some private Battlefront games every once in a while would be a blast. Absolutely. I would almost rather play something different. Some I don't know, strategy game or something like that. But I don't. Yeah, that'd be cool. Could I record it? That would actually be some kind of fun gameplay too. So, yeah. Well, I would be up for that for sure. I think to me it would be more fun to play like a Galactic Battlegrounds or something like that with various people. I think it's 4-on-4. That might be a way to include a lot of people, but I guess probably not everybody has that. Let me see. Galactic Battlegrounds. How much is that? I'm guessing it can't be more than like $5, right? Let's see. On Steam. $6. Okay. All right. I would love... Yeah, Galactic Battlegrounds would be a really fun game to play on a live stream. Why haven't I done that before? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for sure. But anyway. Caleb, I completely forgot the second part of your question. Or the first part of your question, rather. Let's see. Caleb, what was it? What's been your favorite moment in space that humanity has achieved so far? My heart says, the Apollo moon landing and the Apollo program and all the work that went into that and everything, and the Mercury 7 or the Gemini program that, testing all the equipment and the procedures for Apollo, just that entire endeavor put a man on the moon in this decade, before this decade is out, rather. And my heart says that, but my head says the International Space Station. To me, the International Space Station is kind of just the perfect example of what humanity is capable of when we put aside much of our differences and work together as a people. Various nations coming together, building their own sections of the space station, piecing it over decades, part by part, compartment by compartment, experiments and living there for upwards of a year, and just, it's a living, breathing ecosystem that is orbiting Earth. So that's probably my favorite. And the thing is, Caleb, that doesn't get eyeballs often. It's a thing that we take for granted that's orbiting us. It's not like a one-time boom, hell yeah, we did it. It's a long experiment. Let's just call it that. It's a long experiment, and it doesn't get as much exciting coverage as, let's say, Elon Musk putting his car into orbit. That's cool as hell. But to me, the International Space Station is the kind of the pinnacle of what we've done and what is capable. What we're capable of. So, yeah, just the decades of the International Space Station forming and coming together and all that is probably my all-time favorite thing. It's what a massive feat of engineering and just will, building it over decades. That it didn't just all fly up there at once, right? It took decades of sending up new compartments to attach to. I don't even, you can look it up. You can look up what it looks like, but it's almost like Lego blocks, or how they all fit together, and each compartment has 3 or 2 sections that could eventually attach to it, just like with portholes and hatches that are always closed unless a new compartment comes in. They attach it. It's just kind of like piecing together a Tinker Toy set. It's kind of neat, but yeah. Anyway, I love it, Caleb. The International Space Station. And Caleb, I don't know if you've ever seen me post about it on Twitter. I would recommend, and anybody watching this right now, I would recommend downloading the, it's called ISS Detector. And that's the International Space Station Detector. It's an app. You can download it on your phone, and you can plug in or it'll automatically get your location, and then it will tell you when the next time the International Space Station is flying over your head. And it shows that, for me, the next time it's flying over me is on Friday, March 13th at 6:36 a.m. to 6:43 a.m. That's a long time. Max is like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And do this for yourself. ISS Detector, check it out. You can see the space station flying over your head at 17,500 miles an hour. And it's awesome. It's awesome. So check it out. Anyway, I appreciate that, Caleb. And Zio returns once again. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Sorry, been busy. Got a new GF and back at college. Well, congratulations to both there. Mr. Zio, thank you so much for the channel support. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, my friend. Exciting times for sure. And do not apologize. That shit comes first. But if you want to hang out tomorrow for a little bit of Lego stream and watch this idiot bounce around a Lego game not knowing what the hell he's doing, and probably get frustrated that I don't know what I'm doing, hop on tomorrow. But Zio, thank you so much, man. Sounds like things are going well for you. I appreciate that, dude. Jason96, hey HG, how's things? Just dropping in quick. I've sorted my sleeping pattern out so I never see the Q&As live anymore. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, things are well here, man. Sleeping pattern out so I never see these Q&As live anymore. That's all right. This is usually the normal time, but you're up for this one. Yeah, there's no reason to stay up for them, really. You know, if you toss in Patreon, or if you just want to listen to them after the fact, they're always up. But it's good to see you, man. I'm glad to see you got that sleeping pattern worked out. Get into a routine. It's always fun. What's up, JJ? Good to see you, man. Flat Earth movement. Events. Dummies. Gullible dummies. People. Oh, man. Whatever. I could talk about stupid shit forever. People believe in dumb stuff. Oh, nice. Arc Rose, thank you so much for tuning in, man. Yeah, get some sleep. I need to do more afternoon streams and accommodate the globe. But eventually, and I'm supporting on here instead of Patreon nowadays. So, oops. Oh, no. I love it. I love it, man. I wish maybe I should start doing these supporter Q&As in the afternoon as well. Maybe I'll do the next one in the afternoon. I haven't done an afternoon stream in quite a while. And if I do, they're usually like 30 minutes long, and but oh, nice, Jason. Got engaged. Hell yeah, man. Digital high five. Digital high five. Congrats, man. That's exciting. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What do you think of the Tesla Cybertruck? The look of it, I mean, I don't know. It kind of looks goofy to me, but I love everything that's coming out of Tesla technology-wise. Man, why? It's just crazy to me that kind of technology isn't permeating throughout the entire auto industry. I mean, what other? I mean, sure, a lot of other manufacturers now have electric cars, and they're investing in a lot of that kind of stuff, but some of them aren't. Like, I think Chevy just pulled the plug on the Bolt and the Volt. I believe so. I could be wrong about that, but like, I don't know, man. It's weird to me that's when you think of electric car, that's like the only name in town, Tesla. When you think of like tip-top innovation, pushing the boundaries, I love it, and I hope they become even more competitive in the marketplace than they already are, because for one, the cheaper models are affordable. I mean, especially with like federal tax rebates, and even some states have tax rebates. I believe that California has like a $5,000 tax rebate, and I think the federal tax rebate is like $5,000 as well. So boom, there's like 10 grand that you can get back, you know, when you file. It's crazy. So I love it, man. I hope that's the future. It's got to be the future. Yeah. Anyway, you think about, Vince, you think about how far humanity has come technology-wise, right? Technology-wise. Think 100 years ago. 1920. When was the first automobile? First automobile, okay, well, all right, well, let's say 1885, whatever. Okay, so let's just say 100 years. 100 years. Think of technology 100 years ago compared to technology today. And what are we still doing? The one thing that we're still doing 100 years ago, burning this stupid-ass oil. I mean, everything else in our lives are different. Everything else. And yes, for the bang for the buck and energy for the amount of you know, energy that's packed into whatever you want to measure. Cubic inch, I don't know. And fossil fuel's hard to beat. But you think of every other technology around us compared to 100 years ago is vastly different. Nothing is the same except for this. It's kind of crazy to think about, you know? I mean, is there another technology that has lasted 100 years that hasn't just massively evolved? Or an energy source? It's just, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. Anyway. She lives in Montreal. She's moving over here in July, and I'm going on to my second year of uni. Loads of stuff happening. Help. You'll figure it out, man. You don't need our help. That's awesome. That's good. Well, congratulations once again, man. That's exciting stuff. But, oh, I cannot drink enough water. Oh my goodness. I forgot. I bought green tea and sweet tea. Oh my God. When my wife is watching the 4th episode of Outlander. I don't know if you guys know anything about it. I've never watched it. She loves the show. It's in its 5th season now. So she just started an episode downstairs. My daughter's in bed, so I'm going to go watch an episode of The Next Generation. Hell yeah. But, all right, guys. Supporter Q&A for March 2020 over. I did everybody... Well, I don't know if any of you guys are patrons. I'm very curious if notifications went out on my Patreon post. Because... I don't know. I didn't get very many posts. It's very strange. I don't know what happened. Scotty Arms on Twitter says that he didn't get a notification, which is strange. Or maybe it was on their end, which is a huge bummer if that's the case. But how do you take your coffee? Black. I've never put anything in it before. I've always had it black. It's probably, yeah. I would say it's for like health reasons, but I've just never had any. I've never had anything. Yeah, I do straight espresso. Yeah. I haven't done that in a long time, but yeah, it doesn't bother me. Caffeine, it has to be strong as shit for me to like get any kind of jitter. I don't know. And that being said, like if I have a cup or two of a Starbucks large, I don't know, dark roast, I feel that. But it's funny, man, like whenever I go to somebody's house or, I don't know, hotel coffee or gas station coffee, their dark roast compared to what I make at home, our coffee is like, it's mud. I make ours so damn strong. My wife likes strong coffee too. She worked at Starbucks when she was like 18, and you know, she likes coffee, and we make our coffee so damn strong that whenever we go anywhere, it's just kind of like a disappointment. I don't know. But anyway, too little caffeine actually makes me tired. Yeah, I mean, you guys know I usually have a cup of coffee on my evening live streams, and then I'm probably asleep in an hour, you know. Waffle House coffee flavored water. Yeah, it's almost not even worth drinking. You just go to the gas station across the street and buy one of those caffeine buzzin' bee pills or whatever the hell they're called. Don't buy those. Don't. My dad takes that shit. I'm like, what are you putting in your body? it's like, it's some. What's in this pill? I don't know. It's coming over from China, and it's a pill that you're throwing in your mouth because it says it's going to keep you awake. Yikes. I don't know. But anyway, black coffee all day. Literally all day. But anyway. All right, guys. March 2020, supporter Q&A in the bag. Like I said, Lego Star Wars stream tomorrow evening. I'm gonna say around 7 p.m. Eastern time or so. 7:30 p.m. I don't know when, but and it'll probably be about an hour stream. So tune in for that. Anyway, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. I'm gonna figure out what went wrong. If I'm gonna investigate and see if anybody, if any patron notifications went out for anyone. I'm very curious. But anyway, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. All members of the fleet in the chat right now. Good to see you guys. Thanks for the support as always. And I think the next Q&A is going to be in the afternoon, sometime in the afternoon. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Everybody in the chat, thanks for playing around. Everybody tuning in and not able to play in the chat, thanks for tuning in, guys. So anyway, have a good evening, have a good morning, wherever the hell you are on planet Earth. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Let's end it with a fun song. Cool? Fast-paced. Boop, bop, boop, bop. Awesome. All right, guys. See ya.